Back in winter, when I did the crazy snowdrift GT3 video, I promised you that there's going to be a summer video with a GT3, summer tires, summer road, but I really wanted to use this opportunity and take out my latest addition to the garage, which is a 964 C2, and properly drive it before the winter comes. There's so much history between them. They're both extremely special in their own ways. They have their own character. They do very different things, especially for us today in 2023, after we have driven multiple modern cars. But a two-car garage, if there is ever a two-car dream garage, I would say for me, and it is the garage, the GT3 and the 964, where one can offer you this crazy high-speed adrenaline, always on the limit, very fast, very loud, very aggressive, in the same time very comfortable, very modern music system, GPS, Apple CarPlay, all the fancy stuff. And then the 964, which is this just a beautiful piece of history. A car was in the beginning of what we have today, was the first of the 911s to start having all the tech stuff. And the 964 is extremely special in its own way to drive, because you don't really need to go fast to properly enjoy, with a beautiful manual. Very easy car to drive, the shifts are great, the clutch is great, it's not too hard, it doesn't hassle you too much. Have a few things to share about the actual experience of living and owning a 964, because I have been honestly using the car to its maximum. At some point I was like dating the car, so whatever I had to do, even grocery shopping, I would take the 964, and I did cover a lot of kilometers in the car. I did a bunch of road tripping. I crossed Switzerland, I did a bunch of events with the car, and I've been loving those moments, each and one of them. We also have been experiencing a few issues with the car. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be classic 911 without a few little issues here and there. I was stuck on the motorway without power and not knowing what to do. And yeah, that just all adds to the part of that experience. I loved it. I was driving plus 30 degrees summer, no aircon in traffic, car borderline braking, sweating bananas in here. Now the aircon is up and running, which I totally love. And it was fun. You know, some people might say that, you know, what is that for driving experience when the car just keeps on braking? I loved it. It was super fun. I was extremely happy to opened to myself a new world of car events, of all those classic Porsche meets. Then driving more and more the manual, which probably is all of us. Lately we've been driving less and less manual cars, but I think we should really try to get back to it. I've been rocking the manual now in the 964 and I totally love it. Going after in an automatic gearbox, you feel like, you know, they have taken away something from you. You know, a part of the experience should have a stick here.
And that's how a GT3 with a JCR exhaust sounds like. The GT3 is definitely a car in which you need time to get used to the power delivery before pushing it. In other powerful cars, you may or may not get the automatic confidence, but here,
you really need the time to understand the weight balance. You really need the time to understand the way that the weight is distributed in the car. You really need to understand the naturally aspirated engine, not the turbo engine. You need to understand the fact that you always need to be very high in revs in order to get the most out of it. Otherwise, if you're in the wrong gear, you come out of the corner, you have no power. You have to really sit there at 6,000-7,000 RPM because it does take time to get there. It's not a turbo engine. Also the four-wheel steering, that takes time to get used to, the way, the trajectory that you take in the corners. So it really took like a solid summer of driving in order to really understand, in order to really feel this car. You want to shift gears here and not here. You could literally drive it on a semi-daily basis because it's still a 911. It still has the sleek look without looking too flashy, too aggressive. If somebody doesn't know Porsche, they're gonna look at it and be like, oh, cool car. They're not going to think about how beastie and how crazy this car is. I just did the summer torque rally inside this car we did Cannes Marbella, so that was around 2,500 kilometers. Motorway, mountains, traffic, big cities, Barcelona, Madrid, stress. The car did everything. With a luggage space, with a lift system. And I still believe that this is probably the most brilliant car out there today, because even now we have the GT3 RS. I haven't driven it yet, but I can definitely tell you that this will not be able to do that many things in the same time and still be competitive in the price range of a sports to supercar. Also to mention, the fuel tank is 90 liters. So when I was doing the rally, everybody would have to fill up. Huracans, Ferraris, everybody. I always had fuel. The front is extremely light, and there's even a difference when your tank is full and your tank is empty. It's two different cars, and I've been talking to a few older guys and they would tell me, yeah, like back in the days, they were like, when we would go fast, we would just load bricks in the front boot to really add some weight on the front end. Nevertheless, even driving that today, after maybe even stepping out of the GT3, it's as enjoyable as it gets, because a completely different driving technique, completely different speeds, but damn, I feel everything. Like, I feel the steering wheel, I feel every single little bump, I feel it the natural way, I feel the gear shifts, I feel the speed, the sound. When I shift the gears, you feel the engine vibrating in the back. That's a completely different story. But there are some kind of funny perks to it. Your clothes do smell old after driving it, because the car smells old, the leather is old, so you drive it for the whole day, you step out, you smell yourself, you smell old. Some people may be like, that's awful. My girlfriend doesn't like it. I love it. You smell raw and natural. You have to add oil time to time. Actually, upside seats are super comfortable. Like, those seats are magical. I don't know how they were able to develop those seats back in the days. Big downside for me is the steering wheel. I really can't get over myself with that steering wheel. It's huge. I feel like I'm driving a bus. I would really love something a bit more compact, a bit smaller. I didn't change the steering wheel because I was still thinking I'm gonna do this big project, so why buy a steering wheel if we're gonna rebuild the car after, so I didn't do it. So I'm still driving the car with that thought. I really have to say that it's a fast car. Like, it has 250 horsepower, and when you rev it up to like 6,000, hey, that thing goes, and it goes quicker than a bunch of modern cars. Like, you actually feel the torque, you feel the speed. Even with a 5-speed gearbox, you can drive up to 140, 160. I haven't tried faster, but I really believe the car would go 200 probably, maybe a little shaky-wakey, but that's an option. Love it. From being a full-on McLaren fan, which I am still, deep inside my DNA, even when owning 2 Porsches, I was actually kind of in the denial stage when I used to have a McLaren. I wasn't really thinking of going into the Porsche, and it's that Porsche loyalty thing that jumps on top of you, especially after you drive one, and that's kind of what happened to me. I haven't driven any Porsches before, and then I drove another one, and I was like, this is starting to be exciting. And from going to why drive a Porsche, they're all similar, it's a 911, to me talking to you today and owning 2 Porsches and saying that they are probably some of the best cars out there, even the one that's 30 years old. It's quite impressive from Porsche.